Hey, what's up? This is JBAT, and today I will be doing a film review for The Dark Knight, the next film in the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy. Now, this is right after Batman Begins, and this film features both the Joker and Harvey Dent, who eventually becomes Two-Face. And this is a much better film than Batman Begins and a great film overall. I would highly recommend The Dark Knight. So this will be my review for The Dark Knight, and this is JBAT. Okay. Alright.
Hey, what's up? This is JBAT, and today I'll be doing a film review for The Dark Knight. And this is the second chapter in the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy. This was actually after Batman Begins, which was released in 2005. So this is the follow-up, The Dark Knight, and this is released in 2008. So this will be my review for The Dark Knight. Now this film features Christian Bale again in the role of Bruce Wayne and Batman. Michael Caine also returns as Alfred. Gary Oldman also returns as Lieutenant Gordon, and Morgan Freeman also returns as Lucius Fox. But the Rachel Dawes role is no longer played by Katie Holmes. Now it is played by Maggie Gyllenhaal. She plays the role of Rachel Dawes in this film. Now the big bonus in this film is the introduction of two new villains. You have the Joker, who is played by Heath Ledger, and then you have Harvey Dent, Two-Face, who is played by Aaron Eckhart. So Batman has to confront these two new villains in the film, you know what I'm saying? Then you have Cillian Murphy also returns as Jonathan Crane, the Scarecrow, but it's only for like a cameo kind of towards the beginning of the film. So yeah, this is my review. The film opens with like a gang of bank robbers who are dressed as clowns robbing a bank, and the leader just is happened to be the Joker himself, because towards the end of the bank robbery or whatever, he takes off his clown mask, and you can tell that it's the Joker. He has on the makeup and stuff like that. And then after that, it jumps to a scene with Batman getting like a lot of hype in Gotham City. All like the civilians and people that are talking about Batman, talking about how he fights crimes and all that, his vigilante methods and stuff like that. And then he has a confrontation with the Scarecrow in a parking garage. So he finally captures the Scarecrow. And I kind of think that leads off from what happened in Batman Begins, because in Batman Begins, the Scarecrow had got away, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he got away, but Batman eventually captures him in The Dark Knight. So in this film, there's no longer Wayne Manor. Like, Wayne Manor has been burned to the ground from what happened in Batman Begins, when the Ra's al Ghul had burned down Wayne Manor. I mean to spoil that if you hadn't seen it or whatever. So there's no longer no Wayne Manor. So Bruce Wayne, he actually keeps he doesn't have a Batcave anymore, because remember the Batcave was under Wayne Manor. So he basically has like a new hideout where he keeps his tumbler, his bat suit, and his gadgets and stuff like that. It's like a little cool looking place, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. But like later on in the film, the Joker shows up again, and he proposes to kill Batman. It's like a bunch of gangsters and crooks, you know what I'm saying? He suggests killing Batman, you know what I'm saying? And of course, after the Joker proposes that, you know what I'm saying? Of course they really can't, take out Batman. So later on he even actually threatens to kill people, you know what I'm saying, if Batman doesn't reveal his true identity, because he gets so upset with Batman, messing up his operations or whatever. So he actually, gets that upset with Batman. So he wants Batman to reveal his true identity, or he will keep on continuing to kill people, and stuff like that. So that kind of goes back and forth throughout the film or whatever. Then there's some cool sequences with when Batman first meets the Joker or whatever. I thought that was kind of a fun scene. I get this I think it's a party or something. Batman has his first confrontation with the Joker, and I thought that was kind of a fun scene, because it also involves Rachel. The Joker, he takes Rachel and throws her out the window, so Batman dives out the window, and he saves her. So I thought that was kind of like a nice little introduction between the two. You know, I'm not gonna really overly spoil this film since it's like a gem. You know, so I just touch on things that made the film, you know, like fun and good. Now this is a much better film than Batman Begins was. Like when I first saw this one, I automatically liked it off point. You know what I'm saying? It was way better. You know what I'm saying? It was actually more colorful, I guess you could say, because of the Joker himself, you know. And Heath Ledger, he played the Joker pretty good, and he also won an Academy Award for his performance as the Joker, you know. And I think I'm not going to touch him, but I believe he's the only person who ever won an Oscar that wasn't alive, I think. Won that while he was like, you know, like, you know what I'm saying, after he had passed away, if I'm not mistaken or whatever. But yeah, there's like a lot of moments in the film too that borrow from like Batman, like graphic novels. Like you have Batman: A Long Halloween. It's like a lot of scenes that were kind of taken from out that graphic novel. Like a scene, like a rooftop scene with Batman, Harvey Dent, and Jim Gordon or whatever. That scene is very reminiscent of a scene in The Long Halloween, which I thought was kind of like a cool, nice little touch, you know. So I'm saying, then there was also other scenes like dealing with the money being burned up, you know, like Batman and Harvey Dent burned up Falcone's money in the graphic novel Batman: A Long Halloween. That's also in this film too with the Joker, but instead it's the Joker who is burning up a lot of cash. So it kind of hints back to the scene of you know, from the Batman: A Long Halloween graphic novel. You know? Now Gillian B. Loeb, he also shows up again, and you know he's from Batman Year One, and like I mentioned before, he was also in Batman Begins. Now in the graphic novel Batman Year One, he's actually a Caucasian, but in Batman Begins, the actor that played Gillian B. Loeb, because you know he's the commissioner, he was actually African American, and that same actor he returns in The Dark Knight. Now in this film, he actually is killed this time by, you know, like the Joker. They poisoned his alcohol, and the alcohol scene was kind of reminiscent of a scene that was in Batman: A Long Halloween too, with where like Gordon had pulled like a cup of alcohol, and like a cup, and then he grabbed like a bottle of alcohol, and he had shared it with Harvey Dent. Well, he actually didn't drink it, but it was actually in his desk in his office. So that was giving you like an example, you know, of how corrupt like even Gordon himself was in the Batman: The Long Halloween graphic novel. So the scene in this film kind of borrows from that. When Gillian B. Loeb, he's actually talking to Gordon, because Gordon is still like the lieutenant in this film. He pulls out like a alcohol with a cup, and you know he pours it and drink it, and it's like poison. So then he like dies from it, and I think that's when Gordon becomes Commissioner Gordon. Now there's also like a moment in the film where Harvey Dent claims to be Batman. So then he is jailed, but then after he is jailed, they decide to transport him to like another location, and then the Joker attacks him, trying to, you know what I'm saying, get revenge or whatever for him being Batman. Because remember, the Joker wants to know Batman's true identity, so he eventually attacks the Harvey Dent. But then Batman shows up in a tumbler. Then they have like a cool like battle sequence, like a chase scene. Then like the tumbler gets blown up by by the Joker's like bazooka. He shoots like bazookas and he blows up Batman's tumbler. So then like Batman introduces a new vehicle, which is very cool. The Bat Pod, they call it. It's like a bat like motorcycle almost, and it is very cool. You know what I'm saying? Because when Batman's like riding on his like cape is like flowing in the wind and stuff. So I thought that was a cool vehicle. I liked that better than the tumbler, you know. And it's called the Bat Pod. So then he chases the Joker down like in his like truck, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna spoil too much of it, but it's like a powerful scene, you know. And then after that, after they capture the Joker, they take him to prison, and then they have like an interrogation scene, you know what I'm saying, with Batman and the Joker, which was very cool, because you know like in this version of the Batman, you know, films or whatever, this Batman and Joker get more screen time than they did in the original Tim Burton film, you know what I'm saying? With Jack Nicholson as the Joker and Michael Keaton as Batman. They didn't really have a lot of screen time. But in The Dark Knight, they have like a lot of like screen time together, which I thought was a cool touch by Christopher Nolan, you know? So they have like an interrogation scene that is very long with Batman like throwing the Joker around and like asking him questions like where like his friends are and stuff like that, you know? And it's a powerful moment too. I thought it was well, you know, made or whatever. Batman he asks his Joker, you know what I'm saying, he interrogates him in the prison or whatever, And the Joker, he asks the Joker where's like Rachel Dawes and like Harvey Dent, where were they located, you know. Then eventually the Joker lets him know where both of them are. But Batman has to make a decision on who he's going to rescue, you know. But I'm not going to spoil what else happens after that, you know. So after this, like eventually Harvey Dent, his face gets like scarred in an explosion. When Batman does choose to save him, you know what I'm saying? His face gets scarred in an explosion, which results in him becoming Two-Face. Now all along throughout the Dark Knight, you got a little glimpse of Harvey Dent having like, you know, he makes choices with like a coin he has, like he'll flip his coin. You know what I'm saying? He'll make a decision of his heads or tails. So all along I thought that was cool. That was throughout the film with Harvey Dent flipping his coin, you know, to make decisions. So he'll choose like heads or tails if he's gonna do this or that, you know. So he becomes Two-Face, and then he automatically begins, like, you know what I'm saying, after that, I don't want to spoil too much of the film, he begins flipping his coins right there and making decisions on who to kill, or who not to kill, or what to do, or what not to do, you know what I'm saying, and the look of him looked kind of, you know, it was creepy too, and I think, like, the scar face that he had, like, Two-Face Harvey Dent, I think they did it with CGI, if I'm not mistaken. It wasn't like makeup, because you could see like his skeleton, like in bone and stuff. It looks creepy. I thought it was cool and like realistic, and it was much more serious than, you know, like say like Tommy Lee Jones did in Batman Forever. You know, it was more serious, and that's the way I always known Two-Face to be too. He wasn't like funny or anything. He was like, he had like a serious, you know, tone about him, you know. But yeah, like so on, like without giving too much away, like towards the end of the film, you know, the Joker threatens to blow up like 2 ships full of people or whatever. Like one has like a group of like prisoners, and then the other one has a groups of just civilians with like families and stuff like that. And there's like 2 different boats, and he threatens to blow up both of them up, you know. But Batman, you know, kind of shows up on the scene, that he confronts the Joker with the help of Lucius Fox, who equips Batman's new suit with like these like X-ray like vision thing, where Batman can see like the sound waves and can know where everybody's at and the location that he's at. And it was kind of cool looking, because it kind of gives you a look with Batman of how he looks in the comics or whatever, on like animation shows, with his eyes being white, because they glow like blue, like a light being them. So I thought that was like a cool touch. It looked cool in the film, because he's like running around fighting and stuff, and his eyes are like lit up and stuff, you know what I'm saying? So I thought that was a cool touch, you know. So eventually he meets the Joker, that they have like a final battle, and I don't want to give too much away. So then after that, Two-Face is still on the scene, and he's threatening to kill Gordon's like son and family and stuff, you know what I'm saying? And of course Batman shows up and kind of prevents him, you know. So in the end, Batman takes the blame for what has happened, you know, in Gotham City, like with, you know what I'm saying, like the people on the ships and all that. So he takes the blame for what the Joker had caused. And then he decides to become a fugitive from the law. Then he'll, you know what I'm saying, he rides on out on his back part, you know what I'm saying? And you could tell that clearly it was like a cliffhanger. They was leaving it open for the next film in the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy, you know. And I thought it ended on a high note, you know what I'm saying? I thought it was like cool, you know. But the kids like yelling his name like Batman. Batman, I thought it was kind of like nice little touching, like Batman. Yeah, you know. I was saying, and he's my favorite superhero too, you know, how it always has been, you know. So I thought that was kind of cool at the end or whatever, you know. And kind of, you know, so you could tell that it would definitely be like another Batman film in the Christopher Nolan films, you know. And I thought he did a good job with the directing. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was like stylish, you know what I'm saying? The look of the film was very realistic, and that's what I liked it about Batman Begins, you know. It was very realistic, you know what I'm saying? I thought that was cool. You can actually believe in this. And Christian Bale, he gave another good performance as Bruce Wayne, Batman. I enjoyed him as, you know, as the two or whatever. I thought he did pretty good. Michael Caine was good as Alfred, from my opinion, you know. And I thought Gary Oldman was excellent as Gordon, you know. And I thought Morgan Freeman was cool as Lucius Fox, you know. I liked the nice elderly performance that he gave, you know. And I thought Maggie Gyllenhaal, and I actually kind of liked her better than somewhat than Katie Holmes as Rachel Dawes. I thought she was kind of good in the Rachel Dawes role, you know, because Katie Holmes played Rachel Dawes on Batman Begins, but this time it was Maggie Gyllenhaal, so, you know. And I also thought Aaron Eckhart was good as Two-Face, you know. Harvey Dent, he did a good job. He was like very like serious and kind of aggressive, you know, like had like an aggressive manner in his Harvey Dent persona, you know what I'm saying? So I thought that was cool. And I thought Heath Ledger was good as a Joker, you know, he was good. I thought I enjoyed it. And he also won an Academy Award, like I said, for that role, like an Oscar, you know what I'm saying? And he died too after this film. Right after the film was finished, Heath Ledger had died from like a drug overdose, I believe. So I was kind of sad, and I do remember hearing about that at the time, you know, that he had died like from like a mixture of drugs, like medications or whatever, and that's how he had overdosed or whatever, he had died or whatever. But he gave like a good performance, and he won like an Academy Award for it, you know. I thought he did a good job. He also shows up in this film as like a gangster. I think it's Salvatore, and he's like a member of the Falcone family. He's also in this film, and even Michael J. White, you know, he played like Spawn, you know, and like that in that film, like the superhero Spawn. He's also in this film too, as like a gangster, I think, like a gang. He's like some kind of gangster because he puts like a kill, like a hit on the Joker. He wants to like either kill the Joker for 500,000. Or bring her to him alive for $1 million or whatever. Of course, the Joker prevents that or whatever, you know. So I thought that was that. I thought he was kind of fun in the film, but he's only in it like in the beginning of the film. He's not really in it that long, you know. And then Cillian Murphy, like I mentioned before, he returns as the Scarecrow, you know. Again, Batman actually locked him up this time, you know. Well, caught him this time, you know. But yeah, I thought this was a good film, you know what I'm saying? And it was much better than the Batman Begins, you know what I'm saying? And it took like a lot of elements from graphic novels like Batman A Long Halloween. It took like a lot of elements, like I mentioned before, from that, you know. And I liked that some of the stylish like filming that Christopher Nolan did with it, like Batman like gliding around like the city and stuff. Like he took a trip to Hong Kong to apprehend like this Asian guy or whatever, you know, and he had to fly like throughout the Asia, like Hong Kong. I think it was Hong Kong. He had to fly around with his cape or whatever. I thought that was a cool scene with him like gliding around the city or whatever, and like all the scenes that made it like very realistic, and that's what I really liked it about it. Even like Batman Begins, like Christopher Nolan made it so like realistic, you know. It's like scenes with like Batman investigating like crime scenes with like Gordon, just like you do like in like the comics or, you know, like animation or whatever. I thought that was so cool. Because, you know what I'm saying, it looked so realistic with him actually being there around Gordon, and they're investigating like the cops around too, you know what I'm saying? Because they still kind of against Batman's presence somewhat, because he's like a vigilante, you know. That's just how it be like in like the comics or whatever, like animation, you know, and stuff like that. I thought Two-Face was very creepy in it too, you know what I'm saying? And I liked the look of the Joker, how his makeup was, you know what I'm saying? And there was also a scene where he didn't have makeup on. It was like Heath Ledger, but he has like these scars on his face now too, you know? Like these slightly scars. And they give like an origin for it in the film too, you know? Like because in the film, the Joker has no identity, and that's kind of how he is in the comics too, you know what I'm saying? He really doesn't, nobody knows who he was, you know what I'm saying? He doesn't have like an alias, names, or anything like that. But he has like these scars on his face, like I can smile, you know, like one on this side and one on the other side. And he has like the lipstick on, the white makeup, and the green hair, you know. And he wears like the traditional purple suit, but the makeup, it looks like rough and realistic, you know. It's not like even or not perfect. And I always thought that was cool the way they did that. Like his makeup, it just looks so cool, it not being so perfect and pretty, you know. It looks like rough looking, and I always thought that was so cool the way they did that. Like his Joker makeup that Heath Ledger wore, it looks like rough looking, you know, it's not perfect, like smeared, almost like he just took it and just smeared it all on like rough looking, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, to me, I would highly recommend The Dark Knight. This is a very good film, and it is very long, but now towards the end, it kind of drags, you know, kind of somewhat, but it's like a fun movie throughout, you know what I'm saying? Even when like Batman or the Joker or whatever, you know what I'm saying, if you don't even see them or whatever, it's still like very entertaining, you know, especially for like Batman fans. And I still kind of believe that these were really aimed at the Batman fans because they're so realistic, you know what I'm saying? But this film has like 3 villains going for it, which makes it very comic booky feeling, you know? You know what I'm saying? You have like the Scarecrow at the beginning, you have the Joker showing up in it, you have Two-Face in it, you know what I'm saying? And then you have like a regular villain like the Salvatore that Eric Roberts plays, you know. And I told you he's like a member of the Falcone crime family. So you also have him in it too, you know, as well. But I would highly recommend watching this, you know what I'm saying? This is a good film. And again, I liked the realistic tone that Christopher Nolan did for this film, you know. And Hans Zimmerman and James Newton Howard, they returned to do the musical score. And there's also a new like eerie theme in it too. That I think it's kind of almost like the Joker's theme. Like this music that's kind of like creepy. They have a name for it, I forget it though. It's like this creepy kind of music that wasn't in Batman Begins, but it's on this one, and it's kind of creepy, you know what I'm saying? And I thought that was cool. And David Goyer, he also returns like to write the story along with Christopher Nolan too, you know. And other people that show up in the film, they're kind of like Tiny Lannister Jr. You know, he was like Zeus, like with Hulk Hogan. He was also on a Friday. You know what I'm saying? He's in this film too, as well, like kind of towards like the end or whatever. You know. Then you have there's also like some kind of like almost kind of like racist type scenes in it too, but it's cool though. You know, like with the Batman copycats who were at the beginning of the film. You know what I'm saying? Because at the beginning of the film, like when the Batman's after the Scarecrow, there are these copycat Batmans who are trying to be Batman, trying to fight crime and stuff like that, but they weren't really Batman. But the real Batman, of course, shows up. So there's like a copycat Batman who is hung by his Joker's like thugs or whatever, you know, and he has like the bat suit on it, and he has like a smile on his face, like wipe the makeup on or whatever. And it is kind of racist to a certain extent because he's like hung, you know what I'm saying? But it's cool, whatever. But yeah, Tiny Lister Jr., he shows up at the end too, you know what I'm saying? And you know, he was D-Bone and Friday and like Zeus, like in like, you know, WrestleMania and stuff like that. He's also on here too, you know. So yeah, this is my review for The Dark Knight, and this is the second film in the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy, you know. This after Batman Begins. And the version I had of it was the 2-disc special edition, not the Blu-ray. You know, I didn't have. Maybe one day I'll go Blu-ray, and maybe another time I might do like a review on the features. You know, kind of mentioned before that I might do reviews on the features down the line, like the features that they had or whatever. But yeah, I would highly recommend this, definitely for like Batman fans and even for non-Batman fans. But I still prefer, if you like getting into the Batman films for the first time, I still kind of believe you should go with like the Tim Burton ones and like the Joel Schumacher ones, like those films from 1989 to 1997. I know they're kind of old, but I kind of suggest that you would like go with those, you know. But like, I still believe these really were aimed at like the hardcore Batman fans, you know, like me or whatever, you know. But anybody can still get into them and like them, and this is better than Batman Begins. So this is my review for The Dark Knight, and this is JBAT.
In the end, The Dark Knight is an excellent film, and it's actually better than Batman Begins. And this is the second film in the Christopher Nolan Batman film trilogy. I thought it was a superb film, you know, with good performances. And then Heath Ledger, he gave a good performance as the Joker, you know. It was sad that he had to pass away, you know, at the time. But yeah, this is my review for The Dark Knight. I would highly recommend this for Batman fans, you know, and even non-Batman fans, you know. Okay, this is JBAT. Alright.